Good morning, everybody. This is Mr. Edwards, and this is the end-of-year announcement video that I talked about. In this video, we're going to talk about just sort of the end-of-year procedures, how we're going to do Chromebooks, how we're going to do school supplies, and, of course, questions about the report card. So I just want to dive in and say thank you. This year we've said it a million times, and there's no way to really put it into words. It has been really weird. It has been testing us all to be flexible, and I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate everybody being patient with me and patient with the school system and patient with each other as we have moved through this. It has been a year to remember, that's for sure. Nobody will forget this year, and I just sort of gutted that we missed an entire quarter. So let's move into this. This is the big date and time for you guys, 3rd grade, for returning Chromebooks and collecting all of the items from the students' desks. Now let me give you information about that. So obviously, as you can see on screen, 3rd grade's day is Wednesday, June 3rd, and the time is from 12:30 in the afternoon to 2 in the afternoon. I will be going in this week. We are being let back in rotations. I will be putting everything in the students' desks into bags, and I will be labeling them, and then teachers are going to bring that to the gym, and when you guys come, you won't have to go to the classroom and get everything out of the desk. You'll literally just come in, pick up the bag, and go. Now, a couple things to talk about this. First, returning Chromebooks. There are 5 people in the classroom who checked out Chromebooks. The expectation is that they be returned this day, Wednesday, June 3rd. Students are not going to be allowed to keep the Chromebooks over the summer. This is the day that we are expecting them back. If you have the Chromebook checked out, please make sure that you wipe it down. Clorox wipe, just to make sure that when the media center has to go through these, that they are clean. When you bring them in, if there are any issues with them, please let them know. Keys missing, something wrong with it, it's not working, something happened to it. Please let them know when you drop it off, because it's easier for us to deal with it and to figure out how to fix it right then than to have to track people down based on who checked out what. So when you return it, make sure that it's just in nice, clean condition, and that you let them know if there's any issues. Some students may have library books at home. If you have a library book at home, please bring it in. There are not going to be any late fees for the library books. Obviously, you guys were not in a position where we could have them returned. So just if you do have a library book, please bring it back when you come in on Wednesday. And the last thing is that 1 or 2 students have personal books of mine. If you could just do me a favor and please, if you don't mind returning those. I know that I've got a copy of A Series of Unfortunate Events somewhere, and just any books that belong in the classroom or are mine, please, just if you could make sure to bring them back. But other than that, this is the important day for you guys. This is the day that you will bring things back and come get things. Wednesday, June 3rd from 12:30 to 2. So, the other thing that we want to talk about, and the really big important question, what's happening about the end of the year? What are we doing about grades? What are we doing about promotion, retention, all those kind of questions? So, the first thing I want to talk about is whether they're going to be mailed, whether you pick them up. They will be mailed. They will be mailed on June 10th. We are using forms, and I'm going to show them to you on the next slide. They're called 4th quarter transition forms. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Depending on what you read, you're going to hear the words transition forms, or you're going to hear the words report cards. Let me just be very clear right now. There are no regular 4th quarter grades. There's no regular 4th quarter report card. We have been looking at the work turned in by students who are turning it in, and you know, making sure that the students are doing things. But when it comes to grades, that all ended what was the day that we left? March 12th? I can't even remember because it was a million years ago. But my point is that if you hear that report cards are going to be mailed out, I don't want anyone to freak out and say, wait a minute, we were told there were no report cards. These terms are used interchangeably, and I honestly don't know why, but report cards will be mailed out. That will be the regular envelope that you have, guys know and love that you sign. In it will probably, I'm not the one that does it, will be the printed form of the fourth quarter transition form, which I assume is just why people are calling them report cards. But I want to say right now, clear as anything, that there are no regular fourth quarter report cards. There will only be the fourth quarter transition forms. And this is what they look like. I have cropped the bottom off of it just because it's where the comments will go, but I want to take us through this form because I know that I say this because I try to anticipate all the questions in the comments ahead of time. I feel like this is going to freak parents out, and I don't want it to. I want to explain it top to bottom. That way everybody's in a good place when they get it. Obviously at the top we have the information about the school. Obviously your student's name will be at the top, my name is at the top, and Mr. Stokes' name is at the top. Now I don't know if you can see my mouse as it moves across the screen. If you can, great. If not, I will be describing it also. In the top left hand corner you see grade 3 2019-2020 school year transition info. So the first box that you see there will be the 2020-2021 placement. Okay, that means what grade is your student going to be in the next school year. If you have a retention, you would have already been notified. I don't believe I have any retentions in my class. Everybody's going to be going to fourth grade, so unless you've heard from me, which I don't believe anyone has, this should say fourth. Absences prior to, there you go, March 16th. That will be just, I will go to Power School, and obviously we have the reports. I will just put the number of days absent prior to that day. This is the reading data. Again, underneath of this box, I do not know if you can see my mouse or not. The iStation January level, and it gives you a little key there that if you're level 1 or 2, that is below grade level, and if you are level 3, 4, or 5, that is on grade level. Just below iStation is MAP, that is the winter percentile, and then the, again, a little key there that if you are in the 1st to 41st percentile, that is below grade level, and if you're in the 42nd to 99th percentile, you are on grade level. Below that is the math data. We return to MAP again, the winter percentile. I believe we took this right, the first or second week we came back, so this would be January, which would be the winter data. And again, the same numbers. If you're in the 1st to 41st percentile, that's below grade level, and 42nd to 99th percentile is on grade level. None of the information in those two boxes, the reading data or the math data, is going to be new. You would have gotten the report in January when we did it. Nothing in this entire left-hand column should be new. We know how many days absent, and we know the data from January. So let's turn to the big area here. And before we start going into details, I want to say this to be very, very clear, because we did not make this form. The county made this form for every single school, every single grade, and we had very little input whatsoever. When it says the standard and then benefits from more support or performs at grade level standard, that is a very complicated, very complex, very big question, and all we get is benefits from more support or performs at grade level. If we put that the student benefits from more support, I do not want anyone to panic and say, oh my gosh, all of a sudden you're saying that my student is, we've been fine all year, and then all of a sudden benefits from more support. Let me be clear, we missed an entire quarter of the school year. So a lot of the things that we are going to be looking at, we didn't finish covering. I mean, we did our best with distance learning, and the students did their best with distance learning, but the fact of the matter is, we missed 10 weeks of school. That's a huge deal. This form, this is how I want everyone to think about it, because this is the way the teachers are thinking about it. This is letting next year's teachers know where each student is. This form is not, it is not evaluative in the idea of grades. I do not want anyone to look at this and go, oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of benefits from more support. That is okay. We missed a whole quarter of the school year. There are going to be things that we did not cover in person at all. There are going to be things that we, did our best to do during distance ed, but that we can't do like we did in a regular classroom. I want everyone here to think of this just as, okay, I'm the 4th grade teacher. I'm looking at, Glenn Edwards. What is he great at, and what did maybe they miss in that entire 10-week period that we were out? We missed so much school. What would Glenn benefit from more support in as my 4th grade teacher? That is what we are going to be using this form for. I feel like as a parent it would freak me out if I got it and said, wait a minute, they've been P's and B's and we don't have letter grades anymore. It's confusing to begin with, and now we've got this. So I just wanted to give that little soapbox speech about what this form is, so that when you get it, it's not too scary for you. We have the literacy learner outcomes, and we have the math learner outcomes. We fought really hard for this originally. They weren't going to have those sentences. It was just going to say RL 3.1, RL 3.2, RL 3.9, and that doesn't give any information. It's like when we say that you scored a 385 on the MAP test. Well, what does that mean? Is it out of 1,000? Is it out of 400? What are we talking about here? So these outcomes are they're called anchor standards, the big concepts that we covered this year. The way teachers are going to be filling this out is based on where we were when we left on March 16th, okay? If you completed work during the time that we were doing distance ed, that is outstanding. We are not able to use it in an evaluative way. The sole purpose, the whole time, of course, was for the brains to be engaged and for us to convey as much as we could with the situation. But nothing was evaluative. None of the work that that the students have done is used for this form because of all of the irregularities with this year. We have many, many students in the school that did not turn in any work at all. So for it to be equal, for it to be equitable, and I mean, I think it makes sense. I'm evaluating the last thing that we had in the classroom. So this right here is going to be how are they set up for 4th grade is really, my 11-hour explanation. The 4th grade teacher is going to look and say, okay, let's look at what I need to hammer real hard at the beginning of the year to get them where they need to be. We've got the literacy outcomes, and we have the math outcomes, and then at the bottom there will be it says additional student information. Those will be, from my understanding, the comments, just like regular report cards. If anybody has questions about these, they will be mailed out on June 10th. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to me on Class Dojo. You can reach out to me via email. You can call the main school number. Please feel free. I do not want you to think that, we've been cut off from each other, that you can't reach out, or that at the end of the school year I'm going to wipe my hands of this year and say, all right, let's start next year. I have always said, once in Edwards, always in Edwards. If you have a question in August, please reach out to me. I wanted to give you guys this information because it's so much is going on. I would be confused if I was in your position. I have to be honest with you. There are still things that are not cleared up. We have no idea what next year is going to look like. We just don't know. I want everyone to stay safe. If your student is not watching this video with you, please pass along that I miss them. I so wish that we could have had the end of the year together. We were going to go on some field trips. It was really exciting, and we were sort of robbed of that. And I can just only be grateful that, you know, we're safe and we're healthy. So that's what I wanted to cover. The report card, the day that you will be coming in to both drop off and collect, those are the big days. So June 3rd, Wednesday, June 3rd from 12:30 to 2, and report cards will be mailed home June 10th. I do not know if on Wednesday, June 3rd, I don't know how it's going to go with teachers being there. I don't know if I'm going to be allowed, if we're going to be allowed to be around. I just simply don't know how that's going to work. I have a feeling they're going to say as few people as possible, but again, I do not know. If you have any questions between now and, I mean, I guess many time, but between now and Wednesday, June 3rd, about what you should be bringing, what you should be collecting, things like that, please, of course, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always available for you guys, and I know I always will be. If you guys are in the middle of 4th grade and have a question, come visit me, come email me, doesn't matter. So yeah, that is the information I wanted to give to you. I wanted you to see it. I didn't want it to be a surprise. This is the real form. That is exactly how it's going to look. I stuck a watermark on it so that it was clear it was an example one. But this is going to be the exact form that you guys get in the mail. I hope that you guys, again, stay safe and healthy. And I know that it's sort of already been a little bit of a weird break, but I hope that you can enjoy your summer break as much as possible. And yeah, that's it. Enjoy your guys' summer.